Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, let's dive right in. What if I told you there's a systematic way to literally double your income and simultaneously double your time off? I know, it sounds impossible, right? Like some late-night infomercial promise. But what if the real secret isn't about grinding harder or putting in crazy hours, but simply knowing exactly where to put your focus? Today, we're exploring the core concepts of Brian Tracy's focal point, which is a proven system for simplifying your life and completely supercharging your productivity.
Here's our roadmap for today. 1. Finding your focal point. 2. Core rules of productivity. 3. Elevate career and wealth. 4. Balance family and health. And finally, 5. Daily habits for success. Let's get to it. All right, starting off with section 1, finding your focal point. To really wrap our heads around this concept, let's look at this brilliant story from the book. Imagine a massive nuclear plant is malfunctioning. It's costing the company millions in lost energy, and the internal engineers are totally stumped. So, they bring in an expert consultant. He walks around the control room for 2 whole days, just studying hundreds of dials. Finally, he takes out a black marker, climbs up a ladder, and draws a large X on a single broken gauge. He says, "Replace this," and sure enough, the plant is fixed. But then he sends a bill for $10,000. The plant manager is absolutely outraged and asks for an itemized invoice. The consultant replies with this: for placing X on gauge, $1. For knowing which gauge to place X on, $9,999. This reveals such a profound truth, you know? Value isn't in the raw effort, it's in the accuracy of the focus.
And that perfectly illustrates the core definition of a focal point. It's the one thing you can do in any area at any given moment to get the absolute best result possible. Think of your physical energy and your intelligence kind of like light. If it's scattered, it just gently warms things up. But if you focus it through a magnifying glass, you can start a fire. And if you concentrate it into a laser beam, it can literally cut through solid steel. You just need to find your X.
Moving right along to section 2, core rules of productivity.
So how do we actually find that X in our day-to-day routines? Let's look at the mechanical laws that drive this whole productivity engine. The big one here is the 80-20 rule. It's wild when you realize that just 20% of your tasks, those really high-value activities, account for 80% or more of your results and your true value to a company. Yet most of us spend all day bogged down in that massive 80% chunk of low-value, trivial tasks. To double your productivity, you simply have to shift your time into that high-value 20% zone. You've got to figure out what those vital few tasks actually are.
But how do you break out of that 80% trap? You use a really ruthless technique called zero-based thinking. You need to ask yourself this question for every single thing you do. Knowing what I know now, if I were not doing this today, would I start it up again? If the answer is no, you have to eliminate, delegate, or downsize that activity immediately. You've got to stop doing the things that are dragging you down so you can finally simplify your life.
Which brings us to section 3, elevate career and wealth.
Because once you clear out all that clutter using zero-based thinking, you can apply your X directly to your professional growth and your financial goals. What actually separates the top earners from the rest of the pack? Well, high performers focus intensely on the vital few tasks. They have incredible vision and are intensely future-oriented. Underachievers, on the other hand, well, they get caught up in the trivial many. They spend their time reacting to the past and complaining about the present. You want to aim your focus strictly forward. To actually get yourself into that high performer category, Tracy outlines what he calls the Grand Slam formula. It's this highly actionable 4-step methodology. First up, simplify. Basically, eliminate those low-value tasks we were just talking about. Second, leverage. Use other people's knowledge, their energy, and even their failures so you can skip steps and learn way faster. Third, accelerate. Move fast and create a real sense of urgency in your work. And fourth, multiply. Delegate effectively so you aren't out there trying to do everything yourself. And what happens when you apply that Grand Slam formula? Your output skyrockets and your income goes up. But how do you actually build lasting wealth from that? Well, Brian Tracy has a golden rule for financial independence, and honestly, it's surprisingly straightforward: 50%. You have to discipline yourself to save or invest 50% of every single income increase for the rest of your career. If you get a raise or a nice bonus, half goes to your financial future, and the other half, that goes to your lifestyle. It's an incredibly powerful wealth builder.
Now let's shift gears to section 4, balance family and health.
Because we all know success isn't just about money or business output. You have to ask yourself, where does your X belong when you actually lead the office? Tracy introduces this stark thought experiment to put things into perspective. It's called the 6 months to live test. If you found out today you only had 6 months left on Earth, what would you do? Almost universally, people say they'd spend more time with the people they love and care about the most. All those financial goals, all the stressful office politics, they just evaporate instantly. Quality time with family and friends becomes the absolute true focal point.
So how do we keep that perspective on a daily basis so we don't have to wait for a literal crisis? Tracy maps out 7 critical areas of life: business, family, health, financial, personal growth, social, and spiritual. You need to set a specific target, a really clear X in each of these areas. By doing this, you ensure you aren't accidentally sacrificing your health or your family relationships just for business success. You're creating a balanced scorecard for a genuinely fulfilling life.
And finally, Section 5, Daily Habits for Success.
How do we execute all of this, keeping our business, family, and health in check without totally burning out? It comes down to concrete, daily disciplines. At 7 a.m., start your morning by writing your top 10 goals in the present tense. It essentially programs your mind for the day. By 9 a.m., you single-handle your highest value task. Don't multitask. Just aggressively focus on that one crucial thing until it is completely done. And then at 8 p.m., take just a few minutes to plan out tomorrow. These small, structural, daily habits, they will completely change the trajectory of your productivity.
And the reason these daily habits matter so much is because of the 1000% formula. If you improve your productivity by just a tiny 0.1% each day, that incremental change compounds. Within a week, you're 0.5% better. By the end of a single year, you are 26% more productive. It's literally the magic of compounding interest, but applied directly to your personal growth and skills.
So what exactly should you be doing to get that 0.1% daily improvement? Well, here are a few actionable habits Tracy recommends that you can literally start right now. Read for 1 hour daily in your field to stay sharp. Listen to educational audio programs while you're commuting in the car. After every single experience you have, ask yourself, what did I do right to really lock in that learning? And finally, treat everyone you meet like a $1 million customer.
We've covered a ton of ground in this explainer today. From identifying your high-value tasks, to balancing the 7 areas of your life, to compounding your growth. But you know, it really all boils down to one simple, profound choice. Where will you put your X today? What is the one thing you can focus your laser beam of attention on right now to get the absolute best result possible in your life? Think about that for a second. Find your focal point and let's get to work.